Jeff Smith graduated from BBC in the year 2000 and then served at a church in Florida for 4 years. For the past 10 years, he's been at Friendship Baptist Church in Owasso, Oklahoma, where he started as the student ministries pastor, but is currently transitioned into the family life pastor. Him and his wife Kina have 3 boys and are in the process of adopting a little girl from the Philippines. Please welcome to the stage, Jeff Smith.
Good morning. Hey, let's take just a few minutes to have some practical, about 13 minutes just being practical and take a little time out here. Some good stuff, great format. Look about rethinking our church facilities. 2 things that come to mind when I was thinking about this is that the ease of people coming to Christ seems like it's just not as easy as it used to be. You hear different stories from all of you. I hear your stories, you know, the world's biggest Sunday in a gutter, and people just flood in and kids come to Christ, and it seems like it's more difficult. Second thing I think about is the church. You do the history of the church, which we don't have time to do. The building and the perspective of the actual building of the church has changed over the years. Many years ago, it had a certain purpose, and this year it has a certain purpose here. And as we move into now, this is where we are. This is our church building today, and we're going to talk about this. And we want to view it through this lens so that we understand exactly how we can be more effective in reaching people. Your church facility has a much bigger influence on your visitors than your just regular attenders. Why? Because the longer a person is at your church, the less he or she is able to see what they see. So members don't notice the rain marks on the ceiling. They don't notice the chipped paint on the wall. They don't notice the holes in the carpet. And those things really don't matter to longtime attenders. Why? Because they're coming for what? They're coming for people. They're coming for relationships. They're coming for fellowship. They're coming for spiritual growth, discipleship. They've already realized that. They're not coming for the facilities. But the visitors, with none of these reasons to attend, understand that that's a big first impression for them. So we're going to view this through the eyes of visitors, first-time people coming, unchurched people. So is it really worth putting any effort in our facilities? We've talked about this, mentioned to this. Several people have mentioned that. I want to focus on the fact that our church facilities have an impact on primarily the unchurched, the de-churched. And by the way, if anyone can help me out in trying to reach de-churched people, please come let me know, because we've got a lot of those de-churched people in our community, and I don't know how to effectively reach them. If you have a book, you have something, come talk to me, because we love to try to reach that. And also the lost. This is where the biggest impact's going to fall. Now, I want you to think about this. Think about any interior of any national chain, whether it be a chain department store, whether it be a grocery store, a pharmacy, any type of clothing store, any type of a restaurant. On average, that business will remodel their facilities 4 to 7 years. That's when they do their remodel. There's something about new. New attracts. Most churches renovate their facilities every 25 to 40 years. That's what statistics say. And some go even longer without giving any attention to their facilities. A Christian architect recently said that the more an interior element of a church looks like those that surround people during their normal week, the decor, the restrooms, the light, the paints where they work, where they move, classrooms, the more likely the facility will present a positive first impression. Conversely, the more out of date that facility is, the more negative of their first impression. When a visitor enters church building that is either old, run down, unorganized, neglected, he or she subconsciously thinks bad. Is the message of this church the same as the first impression? That's a question we want to ask, okay? So we know this to be true. Your facility makes a statement about who you are and what you believe. Okay, just as clothes makes a person, your facility says a lot about you. Clean, well-designed, well-maintained facilities show that the community that you care about them. You care about them coming. Our facilities need to reflect this by being attractive, inviting, user-friendly as people come in. For example, let's talk about curb appeal. People have no desire to come into an environment that looks unappealing. Is this really true? Do we really do not want to attend places that don't look good? Most people judge a book by its cover. We all do this. We look at a book and say, well, that looks like a good read. I think I'll pick that up and read it. Look at the videos and the DVDs that we look, oh, that looks like that's would be good. Good action. Look at the way that we vacation. We literally set our vacations by getting on a web, and a few pictures determine our destination where we spend thousands of dollars, and now we're going to take our family and we're going to vacation there over just a few pictures. Basically, we're looking at an appearance, a first-time snapshot of what we want to do. Therefore, if people see an unclean space, they're likely to say that, you know what, we're not going to be taken care of any way, and therefore the first impression is negative. What is to be said about aroma of a church? I don't know what it is about churches, but every now and then the churches pick up this aroma, and in an environment full of odd smells is one of the ones that can really impact an impression on first-time visitors. Just recently, our housekeeping, there were some smells that just started developing in there, and they're really good about getting on top of that. And I came in one day, and it just was amazing. I was like, what is that? It smelled like that taxi cab pine, like the pine cone thing. And it was just crazy. It was just right in your face. And she was like, well, I noticed the smell, and I noticed that Walmart had them on sale. And so we just wanted to, and I just told her, I said, you know what? Don't worry about being a good steward anymore. Use the good stuff, okay? And so we tried to instruct her, and they're really good about that. But it was just those little things. The first impression, that smell, is a real important thing. When it comes to church visitors, you don't have a second chance for a good first impression. And one of the first impression visitors have of your church is a building. First, it's the outside. Then it's the inside. Smell usually comes into there. Visitors don't need to be a professional to be able to sense that the ceiling is stained, the flower beds have weeds in them, the color schemes are from a different generation. Someone said this: the medium is the message, and your building is the medium. Okay? If your church building is over 15 years old, studies say that it's probably a growth restriction. All right, let's just keep going. ST. Good? Keep going, wait? Okay. Yeah, there you go. Can you guys hear? Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. Good deal. So we look at this. 15. If your church is over 15 years old, it's probably a growth restricting obstacle. Studies have shown that an average increase between 8 and 11% for those who just take in consideration the attention to their facilities. Now you say, what's just 10%? I know you guys get excited about 10%, okay, right? When it comes around the plate, 10% is a big number, isn't it? In the group, and the people that represent here, that's a difference between anywhere from 16 to 72 people. Just giving consideration to your facilities. Your building is a tool for a growing church. We all know something about tools. We use tools in our garage, in our kitchens, around the house. Tools help us accomplish a certain task. If we have the right tool, the job's easier. If you want to drive a nail and hang a picture on the wall, you would use a hammer to help that. If you didn't have a hammer handy, you'd pick up something else, maybe a rock, a makeshift object, or something like that. It wouldn't be easy, but it would get the job done. You know how to do that. You've been there. The point here is that tools help us accomplish the task, and some tools are more helpful than others, just as some buildings are more helpful to our ministries than others. It's also true that different tools help us do different jobs. Scissors are great for cutting paper. If I want to start trying to cut a tomato with scissors, it's not that easy. So if you want to worship, you want to teach preschoolers, you want to do administrative tasks, you want to have fellowship dinners, you need different kinds of spaces or different kinds of tools. Different rooms need to be designed for different jobs and tasks that you want to do. How does Scripture talk about this? What does it do to support this? Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, If the iron be blunt and he does not whet the edge, then must he put to more strength, but wisdom is profitable direct. A dull axe requires great strength. Be wise and sharpen the axe, sharpening the blade. Chopping down trees with an axe is not a lot of fun, but make it a dull axe, It's not fun at all. It's a real challenge. Instead of chopping down trees, think of it this way. The church is here to teach, worship, minister, build, fellowship, doing evangelism. You could plug in your purpose statement right here. That's what our purpose is. Church buildings are some of the tools that we use to do those things. If they are not in good condition, they act like a dull axe and make the job much harder to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish. A good tool helps you get greater results from the same amount of work that's put in. Just as a right tool can make a yard easier to be able to maintain, buildings in good shape can make your efforts at evangelism, discipleship, can make them more effective. Attractive buildings might get people into the building that would normally have no interest. We're attracted by that. That's a culture that we live in. The sad truth is that many of our buildings fall in the category of being a dull axe. They aren't as attractive as they could be. These churches that need to be sharpened up, need to be maintained. Some need to build, others just need to update the appearance. Some churches are doing pretty well in spite of some of the inadequacies that we have. Their buildings. Imagine what we could do if we just sharpened those tools a little bit, how much easier it would be. So what's being done? Here are top 5 facility upgrades that people are doing. Technology and lighting is a very big thing. Churches are involving their sound. Sound's a very big thing in our culture. Quality of sound is really big. They're putting them in their ears. People want quality of sound. Adding video usually changes the way that you do lighting. Quality per platform and lighting control levels as you're bringing in creative elements and trying to do anything that you can do to try to stimulate people to be able to hear the message. It's important, technology and lighting. We just built a new building and put environmental lighting all the way across, and we're still working out those bugs, trying to figure out how we can make that effective and attractive as people come in. Number 2, worship space. Platform appearance is very important, whether it's adding more space for music or adding more creative elements on the stage for a message series or special days. Those are upgrades that churches are doing. Number 3, gathering spaces. Churches are starting to understand the importance of gathering spaces for informal fellowships. Gathering spaces are much more than just a large foyer. They serve a vital function, providing informal places to have a cup of coffee, to hang out with friends, to have one-on-one Bible studies, discipleship. We just recently built a building. We made sure that we had a very common gathering space right in the middle. And you know what happens? Mixed generations are there. Because we're not called to just reach a generation, but we're to reach all generations. And mixed generations are there. Coffee, donuts. We see people, Pastor, you don't know about this. I know that one of our lawyers helped save a marriage and helped us try to restore someone's marriage during one of your sermons through one of those gathering spaces because it was inviting. It was comfortable for them to sit there and to be able to share. Number 4, wayfinding. Good directional signage starts in the parking lot to help visitors find where they might want to park, find their way into the building. Clearly marked guest parking is a way to help a visitor feel warm, like you're expecting them to come. We expect you to come. Well done interior signage could help everyone find their way to where they need to go. Quality signage is one of the most cost-effective ways to be able to update your buildings. We just recently had a staff meeting about our signage, and we got most of our signage in. We're waiting for our building to settle and to find out where our traffic flows are, and we're going to work on finishing that out. And we realized that signage is important. On Easter, we came up with a brainstorming idea. Tons of families coming in, over 200, 300, 400 families coming in. Where do they take their kids? Well, we said, hey, how about getting a stick and a sign that says, where do I take my kids? Ask me. And just creative ideas. Signage is important. People want to know where to go. They don't want to be in the lost. They don't want the unknown. They want to be able to know where they can go. Number 5, landscaping. Digital signs are becoming very affordable. Parking lot condition is important. Flower beds, outside paint, it's a very cheap way to make your facilities look good. Freshen up your buildings. So what can we do? An outsider perspective is very, very valuable. Invite someone who's never been on your campus, never been on your property. Say, hey, would you come? I want to walk through our buildings. I want you to drive by our church. I want to walk through. Tell us what you think, what you feel. Tell us the good, tell us the bad, and write those down. Ask them to say what's good, what's some good input. Do this many times. Take many different people. Get them in your buildings. Start an evaluating checklist of this. Evaluate your buildings. Look at the ease of finding location, the first impression outside, first impression upon entering, after walking around. What kind of first impression are you getting from that individual? What about your parking lot? The appearance, the adequacy of spaces, proximity to the entrance, We have music playing in our parking lots. We want people to, as soon as we can, to begin to try to lift their spirits and understand. We have music playing. We have greeters out there. We even have our white church van that we slap a magnet on that says Friendship Security. And we park it right out there, so when people come by, they say, you know what? Someone's going to be watching after my nice car. That first impression is big. Signs, directional signs, appropriate, getting people where they go. Where's the worship center? Okay, where's it at? Directions to restrooms, nursery, kids, good signage. Evaluate your nurseries upon the first entrance. The confidence in their security, your check-in system. Confidence in your nursery staff. Do they have name tags? Do they have things that you have helped identify that this is the good person? We have checked this person out. What's the impression upon leaving? Is it clean? What about your worship center? What is the visibility of the platform, the sound, the acoustics, the easy of finding the seats, the seat comfort? All that stuff comes into play. Take yourself out and bring someone in and find out what that is. The lighting. What about your restrooms? First impression upon entering. Restrooms are big. Okay, how do they accommodate people? We found out that we had to do a better job in our signage. We had a concert. We have a concert series with David Phelps and Mark Lowry and the Martins, and Tim Hawkins are coming. And we realized all those people dismissing for intermission, we needed better signage, so we're going to improve that. We're going to try to divert people to two different sites. They have enough restrooms, they just need to know where to go. So we're working those things through. Very important. Now, each church body is unique. We know that. Situation calls for different types of styles, different types of venues, different types of size. But attractive, organized, well-maintained church facilities help attract people. That's the bottom line. There's no doubt. I know some of you just from being here many, many years, there's no doubt that the gospel message is going to be preached. I mean, there's no way, there's no doubt in that. You just need to get them there, help get them there. Studies show churches that did not have adequate or attractive buildings will be perceived by the church, and specifically the unchurched, as being underfunded. That's the first impression they have. Now, church leaders need to know that pouring money into these buildings is not a solution in itself. So just throwing a bunch of money is not that solution. However, just a little bit, if a little bit of financial care, a little bit of consideration is allotted to your church facilities, you can find and begin to erase that bad impression that someone might have. That's our goal. We want to bring them in so they can hear the message. Here it is, a well-cared-for facility lets guests know that you're expecting company. Hey, don't we expect company every Sunday? Maybe every Wednesday? We're expecting company. What happens when you have company over to your house? You prepare for it. You get things cleaned up. You expect them. They're coming. You want to put your best. We got company coming every Sunday. We're working hard. Your visitation program is working hard to get them here. Your people are working hard. Your deacons, your pastors, working hard to get them here. We want to have a good first impression. Here are a few things that we do at Friendship. What does it look like when we do? We have partial budget and we have partial volunteer. So we have budgeted money that we put towards our facilities. I encourage you to set up a budget that can be developed for your facilities. We also have a volunteer of trustees. Trustees are dealt to take care of the physical aspect of our church. They meet once a month and they walk through the buildings, they try to figure out these things. We communicate with them. Hey, this is that. They help keep it together. Here's what we do. We do a weekly walkthrough. It's not scheduled, but Pastor Sladen, it's a killer. He'll walk through. What are those tables doing up against the wall? Oh, that's from last week's fundraiser. All right, let's get them back in the gymnasium. Oh, okay. Reuben, why'd you leave those tables out? Okay, we'll blame it on the youth pastor, right? And so he was walking through. Hey, what's this table set up for? Oh, that's our fundraiser for this week. Does it have a nice tablecloth? Yeah, they're planning on bringing it. We're walking through these things. We're moving through our facilities. We're stepping outside. What's the landscaping look like? Every week, at least once or twice, we're walking through. We're walking in the auditorium. What is this special Easter cross? Who's going to cover the base because it's wood and it looks like someone just constructed it up here? We're walking through. We're not just trusting. You don't expect unless you inspect, right? You got to inspect it. So we're inspecting things as we're going through our facilities. Weekly walkthrough. What if you don't have a budget? You know what I came across when I was trying to prepare for this? You know what the most recognized church is for just having put together well-organized facilities? It's the Mormon church. Look at their facilities. All brick, simple, nice landscaping. I don't go into many, I've only been into one of them, but well put together. But they're recognized as having the best, not necessarily the best, but they're recognized as being the most consistent facilities. You know what their program is? They put a sign-up sheet and put it around every Sunday, and they sign up for people to come every Saturday and work. So if you don't have a big budget, guess what? You can get it done too. You can get it done by just organization. That's what a lot of our churches organize. We have work days. We have people come maybe once or twice a year, but that needs to be a weekly thing to be able to do it. How about getting local businesses like Lowe's, Home Depot, those building supplies? See if they'll sponsor. A lot of times those sponsors, they have money, they have grant money and stuff that they'll be able to spend. Ask them, say, hey, what can you do to help us? To be able to help beautify our outside. They'll sponsor that. Get local businesses, landscape companies. You know, a lot of our churches have been selected to be in prime locations, major roads. These landscaping companies would love to stick a sign out there that says landscaping by so-and-so. And they'll do that a lot of times and just provide that landscaping for free, just so they can have that name at that major intersection. You get creative. Get sponsored by those things. Now, I think I know that the heartbeat of the BBFI, I think I know what it is. It's missions and lost souls, right? That's what it is, missions and lost souls. The key phrase was the heartbeat. Sometimes I think our facilities come close to giving us a heart attack because we're working so hard. Okay, as we work for lost souls, I encourage you to sharpen your tools. Sharpen that tool that God's given you and make things a little easier with sharp, attractive facilities. And I yield my 1 minute to the next speaker. All right, thank you.